Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today, guys, we are going to be jumping down into the charts for Vechain, see what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you'll be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out. Okay, guys, with all that said, done out of the way, let's jump on down into the desktop and let's see what's going on with Vechain. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start things off with our hourly chart, right? I think it's important that we acknowledge that we've been a slow burn to try to get to our 4-cent target, right? We've been talking about this for quite some time at this point, and we actually have just been stuck in this kind of this pattern to the side here. Now, obviously, we bounced from our 2.858. We hit that. That's fine, but we just failed to kind of get this motion back to the upside at the moment. So I'm still very optimistic about this. There's lots of different ways we can look at the data. We're looking at Bitcoin. I think that's pretty optimistic as well. You can see here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on this trend line, just taking us down a little bit lower. Now, it's possible that this actually does become our triangular wedge shape pattern, and we're actually just waiting to retest this low. And basically, we could end up with some kind of Elliott wave triangle, right? So we could end up with some kind of A, B, C, might be here, D, and then some kind of E as a catalyst that then basically takes us up higher, right? And we'll be looking for that 4-cent range. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are done here. This would basically just mean that we are in a B wave, okay, because that's the only place that this can be, okay, and that we have this as an A wave, this is our B wave, and then our C wave comes up to here. Then I'm expecting us to pull down into this this low C down here, okay, and that will actually complete this corrective move for Vechain. Okay, so that's kind of my expectations, pretty much aligned to what Bitcoin is doing in a roundabout way, okay, because basically Bitcoin is going to be moving up towards that kind of $34,000 and then come down and retest its 200 simple moving average or 50 EMA, or as I like to look at it, fifth wave low at $22,900, right? So coming down into those ranges, basically will be confirming the bear market low, in my opinion, for Bitcoin. That will also mean that Vechain here will be about 1.8 to 1.77 cent. So, you know, a really good opportunity to kind of accumulate more vet before the kind of reversal comes in. Okay, so essentially this is kind of what I'm looking at. That's kind of how I'm looking at it, and I do think that this is going to be then rallying on up nicely. So as I kind of come up into actually, before I do that, I'm going to just bring that Stochastic Rsi. You can see here that we're probably going to see some kind of upward action today. I'm hoping that it is today, but timing is always hard to say. And you can see that the 4 hourly can grow up a little bit as well. So 4 cents seems to be like the most probable area, but you know, it's going to be hard to see if we can push all the way that high. We might not go as high as 4 cent, we might just fall short, but we should definitely go higher than 3.4 because that's where we were at previously, right? So we'll either end up with a double top and a breakdown from here, or we'll go higher than 3.4 cent and head up towards some of these additional resistance levels. But 4 cent is the actual target. And on the 8 hourly, you can see that we're overbought, so it's not like we've got a huge amount of room to grow. There's a little bit, but not too much. And the daily is actually progressed just up about halfway through on that Stochastic Rsi, basically allowing us to pull back down into these low ranges without doing too much in the way of damage to the long-term picture. The weekly is oversold, which is fine. So as we pull back down, that will also remain in the oversold area, and the monthly is also oversold. So for the most part, we're actually really well positioned on Vechain here to kind of see some pretty good you know, retracement as the last, probably the lowest area. This would actually mark us out at about 93% of the from the all-time high, right? So we're talking about true bear market lows. They usually come in around these levels, like 95, 93%. So for most retail investors, dollar cost averaging around here is exactly what you want to be doing, in my opinion. But it is worth noting I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot offer you financial advice. Everything in these videos are just my thoughts and opinions as I see the data in the charts. So taking a look from the all-time high down to these low levels, this is exactly where we want to be accumulating. This is where I will be accumulating some more vet as well. So as we can think about where Chris and I were previously, we were buying this A wave up here after these kind of confirmations of these bear market lows. It's also a scenario here, you wait for that reversal and you move back up, but chances are you're going to be much higher than 1.8 cent at that point. We also bought this B wave down here as well, just accumulating at these low levels of around, 0.5% or so. I mean, this actually came down to 0.008. So we did probably most of the buying. Yeah, it was definitely around here. I'd say probably June. June was probably the most of the buying range that we did, just around there in its early stages, right, as we started to move on up. So, you're right in the sweet spot in terms of where we were. If we were to think about, from the previous highs to these bear market lows that we had seen previously, specifically the pandemic crash, and the advantages that came afterwards, I don't think people are going to be looking back complaining that they bought at 2 cent or at 1.8 cent when, you're trading up there at 30 or 40 cents. So I think it's important that we understand, where that's likely to go and all that kind of good stuff. So for me, that's kind of what we're looking at. That's our accumulation zone. We are looking at 1.8 to 1.77, but we do need to first move up a little bit more before we can pull on down to complete the patterns and complete the structures out here. So that's essentially what we're looking for, and I do think that is something that's going to play out over the next few days or weeks. I think timing is always hardest thing to kind of gauge. I'd anticipate moving up. Hopefully, by the end of the week we've hit these higher targets, and then we can start talking about a 5-wave structure or something coming down. And it might take a couple of weeks before we actually hit the bottom, depending on the level of speed that it has, right? We don't necessarily know this for certain. Elliott wave doesn't help us with timing or anything like that. What it does help us with is understanding the sentiment of the market, because what Elliott wave is actually tracking is people's behavior in the market. It's not tracking candlestick patterns per se. What it's actually tracking is how people resonate incredibly well in wave structures and in Fibonacci numbers, and essentially that is what we are doing here. We're mapping out how people are going to react at certain price points based on the number of waves that they've felt that they've actually been in, and of course the Fibonacci numbers that sit behind those waves as well. So for anyone who understands the psychology of trading, will understand that Elliott wave theory is very, very good at understanding how people's at mapping basically people's behavior in the space. So for Vechain here, yeah, we are looking at approximately moving up to about 4 cent and then coming down towards 1.8 cent to 1.77 cent on the lower end of the spectrum. Essentially, that is Vechain. I'm not going to go on anymore. Keep this nice and brief. Not much has really changed other than the fact that I think that in this now triangular wedge shape pattern, and this might be a triangle, an Elliott wave triangle, and if so, then we should look for that final move to the upside. It is also possible that we overextend, guys. If it is a triangle, these usually end with a 5-wave structure. And if it is a 5-wave structure, then normally that will be taking us higher than our 4 cent, because it would overextend on a 1-to-1 ratio normally. So just watch out for that. Okay, it could be a 3-3-5, or it's actually more of that, but a really complex correction that ends in 5 waves, essentially. So just watch out. I do think there's some interesting things to come here when it comes to Vechain, guys. I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.